What is up, guys? It's Verns back here again with another Supercoach video. This time it is the round 10 review. Now, as you will know, I am a little bit late this week. Honestly, we got story time that happened before we jump into the team because I've had a big week. A few things I just want to talk about. First of all, Thursday night I went down to the Harry Potter in the Briars, I believe it's called. Went with cousins, family. Not really any friends came. It was really just cousins and whatnot. But I actually proposed to my now fiance, and she did say yes. So it was very, I guess, productive Thursday. Very happy with that. I don't know how we know. I guess what you guys would interpret my relationship with my partner. I always say my partner. I mean, officially we were just. I don't know. We've been together for almost 7 years, so it was always a bit weird to say like girlfriend. It just doesn't sound right. But now I can call her my fiance, so that's going to be a lot more easier going forward. Yeah, it was a good night. Had a really good time, and yeah, everything just sort of worked out how I wanted it to. So I was very happy. We were actually buzzing so much because we stayed down there at Mornington Hotel. And we were buzzing so much at like 1:30 in the morning. We went down to the pokies, had a quick spin, and won $300 on top of it. And I was like, man, this is just, everything's turning up Vern right now. This is nuts. I actually also tipped Gold Coast to get up on that game as well over Geelong. So yeah, good Thursday. Friday I actually heard back from a job I'd applied for and was told I got it as well. So that was really good also. Yeah, just it was sick. Fortunately then Friday night when I was out late night, my car did, I wouldn't say blew up, but it more or less one of the pipes burst, coolant everywhere, and I have a replacement pipe that I will look at putting on later today. Maybe I will see how hard it is, and then I might leave it for my fiance's uncle if I can't. So yeah, a lot of good. As much as that sucked, it was also like, could have been much worse. Last time a pipe burst, I decided to try and keep driving it, and I blew the radiator, so positives, a lot better than last time's outcome. And then, yeah, I ended up spending most of Sunday down at the ear and eye hospital, actually, because I went into OPSM to get my eye looked at. It'd been playing up for like 3 weeks, really annoying. It'd been swollen like 3 weeks ago, then it sort of went down, but it'd been irritated, and I could just tell, like, I couldn't really deal with bright lights, and I was kind of struggling with some screen time, and I was like, man, I don't know what's up with this, but I went to the doctors. They gave me some eye drops like a week ago, and they're like, look, if it's persisting, like, you need to go to an actual optometrist and get them to look at it, because we don't have the technology here to see if there's like what exactly is happening. I probably left it a bit longer. Did wait like a bit over a week, considering I saw the doctor on like Friday, not the Friday just gone, but the Friday before that. And yeah, they did have a look, and they weren't too sure originally. They weren't too sure if it was a little bit of metal or glass, but I think it was just a little grass seed. It's always hard to tell, but it was a little grass seed that was just like in the middle of my eye. The tissue had sort of started to grow over it, so they couldn't get it out, so I had to go down to the ear eye hospital. And yeah, that was interesting. I never had my eye numbed, and then anything touching it, like, that's just I'm not good with anything near my eyes as it is, but that was like, I just wasn't happy with that. Originally they used like a cotton bud, and I was like, oh man, if this gets out with a cotton bud, I'm going to be annoyed that we waited 5 hours here to get this done, but it couldn't, probably because, as I said, part of the tissue had grown over it. So then she's like, well, I'm going to have to scrape it out with a needle, and I'm like, actually, I really wish that cotton bud worked now, because I was not happy to hear that at all. And I made sure not to look at the needle she was getting out, because I'm like, I can't see it. Like, if I see this needle before it even goes near my eye, I'm not going to cope. So yeah, she ended up, as I said, they don't like put the needle like into your eye. They use like the needle, like scrape it out sort of sideways, and yeah, they managed to get it out, which was good. My eye's feeling a lot better. I'm very happy about it. I've had sort of a red tinge around the cornea, I think that's what it's called, like for ages, but like that's like basically gone. It's very dulled down comparatively now. So once again, that's another thing that's like, oh, that sucks, but I mean, the positive is, like, it wasn't infected, didn't do any serious damage to my eye. Like, it sucked that I had to spend 5 hours there, but footy was on, so I just watched footy. And I didn't see the end of the Hawthorn Port game because I went in to get it done before the last quarter, and I was in there for like 45 minutes, and then on the drive home, like, I couldn't look at my phone, so I didn't end up seeing the second half of that game. But then I think the next day I'd actually watched the highlights for the like the last 2 minutes, which was insane, absolutely insane. That was nuts. But yeah, it was good. Also, I guess Sunday, because I got back early enough, we went out for dinner with my parents. But yeah, it was as much as I guess there was a lot of good things, and like you could say two sucky things, but at the same time, like they're not that sucky because, as I said, comparatively, like they could have been like much worse. So you could say it's almost a good thing that they happened, or we got them done when they did, because it wasn't worse. So yeah, and yeah, my eye just I've been trying to sort of avoid screens for the last day or so. It's feeling a lot better today though. Like it's feeling brand new. I don't know if you've ever felt a brand new eye before, but this is what it feels like. So yeah, that was my weekend. So now we can jump into the Supercoach side of things. I appreciate all y'all for listening to my rambles. But yeah, before we get into that, I appreciate anyone that likes, subscribes the video, and even those that just tune on in. But obviously, for your consistent injections of Supercoach content directly into your YouTube feed, you can also find me on the Supercoach Hub. We will be on later tonight, 9:05 as usual with Scobes. We'll have to see what Joshy's workload's at to see if he can get on or not. And then you can find me on Twitter, just Verns_SC Hub. I will put the Twitter just in the description below, and I will also just put the Discord for the SC Hub below. We do you have your common chats and whatnot in there that you can talk through and get advice and all that, but then also just we have a consensus team where you can jump on in, you can get your consensus roll if you want, and then you can put votes in for trades each week. This week we did end up bringing in Zorko and Sullivan, so they're pretty stock standard ones, but obviously Zorko was a menace. But yeah, we can see the score there, 23-58. Not a terrible score. I feel like it was a bit below par of where I'd like it to be, but it went up 5,000 spots to 43,000. Yeah, as I said, at this rank, you don't have to do much to gain ranks. But if I got to be honest, very frustrated here. We're going to jump into the team. You're going to see what it looks like. Give me 1 second. I don't know if I reversed my trades, guys, so I just want to quickly check that out. I did not reverse them. Give me a second. Oh, man, rather than me always having to do this in front of y'all, let's just move it to the side. Bring it on back, and here we go. Bring down the side, and maybe just zoom in. Yeah, we'll zoom in. That looks good. I guess before we look at that, though, just quickly scroll up, and that's the money that we have in the bank, 130k. Now, you're going to notice that this team doesn't look like the team that I left it with at the end of last week, and it's very unfortunate. So you can see that I've actually brought in Max Gorn, which is crazy. I brought in Max Gorn. I mean, Sweet was out for another week. I was looking. I didn't realize this Sweet Donut was a 2-pack, and I didn't really want a 2-pack. I was pretty full after the first one, so I was like, I don't want this one. So I decided to bring Gorn in to avoid that. And it actually only ended up netting me an extra 6 points bringing Gorn in over doing my initial trades. So the initial trades had Zorko coming into the forward line. Zorko would have played instead of Combin. I said about 6 points. I don't actually know what Zorko scored. What did he finish on? Zorko, yes, he went up 50k. That's so unfortunate. We're just going to have to death ride you now and pray for you to have a bad game. 61. So he outscored Combin by 81 points, and that's what the trade would have been. Like, Combin still scored really well, and to a degree as a Combin owner, I'm very happy with what I got from Combin. But obviously, we would have got 81 more points if we brought Zorko in over Combin. But then I also would have done the Tim English VC into Ryan C. So I would have ended up with 13 more points there. So a total of 94 points. Obviously, Gorn only outscored the donut by 109. So I lost 15. So I won 15 points. But now I don't have Zorko in my team, who looks like such a must-have. But now I'm just going to have to death ride him and just pray that he goes down with an injury or something. And we can just, be on the good end of that. So that's really painful that played out that way. We all know I was big on Zorko. We all know I wanted him, but I just didn't want that sweet donut again. And look, I bang on about this every single time. I'm pretty sure this is Gorn's lowest score this season, not even counting the round 0 game that nobody technically got. So yeah, outside of that round 0 game, I brought him in for his lowest score of the season. Hell yeah, and I captained him. Let's go, boys. Oh, that's so triggering. But basically with that, I mean, it's very frustrating that we had Grundy. Grundy literally was performing awful. We took him out of our team, and then he's just gone absolute fire since then. We brought in Rowan Marshall, who was absolute shit. Just straight shit. two 60s in a row, basically. Had to get him out of our team, and now he's been straight fire. Every time I trade out one of these rucks, they turn into straight fire. Sweet, obviously, there were two donuts there, so we had to make a play to get Sweet out of the... Like, we had to get a ruck in. I could have jumped back on the Marshall roundabout, but I don't know. I was pretty triggered from Marshall, obviously owning him earlier in the season, getting two 60s out of him, and I was like, nah, I ain't going back there. I just can't. But that, I mean, here they're outscoring Gone by like 60 points as well, so that sucks. Yeah, apparently if I just brought in Grundy not brought in, but if I just stuck with Grundy, good outcome. When I brought in Marshall, if I stuck with him, good outcome. And we all know I was going to stick with Marshall until I saw Hayes get named in that team. If Hayes didn't get named, I would have stuck with him, but now I'm with bloody Jack McRae instead, who's like averaging 86 or some shit in our team, so not even good. Yeah, that's really what's done the damage. Honestly, the ruck roundabout, or merry-go-round, that is what's done the most damage to me this season, I feel. But very frustrating. I'll go through it pretty quickly, but Ryan's 122. I thought Gorn going into West Coast to give up a lot of points to Ruckman would be almost guaranteed better game than that. I think I guaranteed Ryan for a 130 plus. I told everyone, and he only got a 122, but if you took the VC, you'd be pretty happy with that. Dacos actually had like a crazy good game outside of his kicking efficiency, 30-ish%. I mean, he had that on the run snap that he did last week and kicked the basically game-winning goal. Had a situation like that this week and put it out on the full, and you're like, damn, like this just ain't his day. Martin got to the ton, so we're happy with that. Got McGovern 117, very happy with that. Also, who expected Melbourne to get absolutely pantsed by like West Coast? Like that's crazy. They got pantsed. Holmes 104, we're happy with that, and Closey 49. Bit unders, and he'll probably be on the chopping blocks this week. Pink also came back, played forward time, kicked an early goal, kicked his first goal. It was a controversial goal, but you know what, we'll bloody take it. Definitely needed that to restart his cash gen and hopefully get him up a little bit. I guess something else I just wanted to talk about before I go into it a little bit further, but we're going to quickly just actually talk about Harley Reid. First of all, what a gun he is. Like... I went out for dinner with my parents, and look, footy was in the background. I wasn't watching it all that much, but I did see the double fend off because, as I said, my eye was pretty cooked, but I did see the double fend off on Clary and Petrarca, and just absolutely beautiful. I did see his running goal, but that was like yesterday, like when I was seeing some highlights on Twitter and stuff, because I was having a bit of a look through there without being too much on it. But yeah, what a gun. We all know I was very big on holding Harley Reid. We all know I wanted to hold him. We talked about it in the Supercoach hub with Scobie, who was very for trading him. And he's really rewarded me as an owner. And I think over 50% of like the top 10, 5, 1% all traded him out. Like over 50%. I think maybe even over 60% moved him on. So to get the 138, he's now turned from a pick that didn't matter what he did each week because everyone owns him, to now potentially a bit of a pod for us because we held on to him. And the 138 is sensational, and this is why I wanted him, because he has this kind of ceiling. And honestly, we know he's coming up to teams like North, I think like Richmond, maybe Hawthorn, but he's coming up to games where we think West Coast could be winning, and I think when West Coast wins, he will go big, and he proved it this week. They went big on Melbourne. Didn't expect him to pants Melbourne, but I thought the Melbourne and Adelaide matchups would be harder matchups, but to get the 138 is insane, and it's so good for me who held and gets to hold him for all season long. But yeah, we'll go back to Butters here. So 127, happy with that. A lot of people looking at him for the VC. I don't know if I would have taken that VC going in the Luke Ryan, though. As I sort of mentioned, Luke Ryan, I wouldn't 135 like minimum because of the upside. Bontebelly 93, a little bit unders. Dunkley 115. Honestly, very sad. Obviously 2 weeks ago, you had Neil like 20 to 30k cheaper. They scored pretty similar last week, but then this week Neil put like 50 points on Dunk, so that's a bit unfortunate. I think I definitely played for a bit more consistency here, but less upside when they run over teams. And considering their fixture, maybe I should have paid for that upside when they run over teams. Dawson got to a 107, so happy enough. Steele 86, bit down, but that's okay. Crouch 121, very happy with that as well. Crouch has been a great hold and a great starting pick. Tom Green, oh my goodness, 487k, that's insane. I mean, I just look at this, Sarong's 680 now. We all know I could have gone Sarong or Green, and I decided Green because we're a bit scared of Sarong getting tagged in those games. And now there's 200k between them, and if you wanted to bring in Green, he's basically a sideways from Wilson at this point. Like, that's just how good Wilson's been and how much cash Green lost, and it's just so unfortunate that we got on him when we did. We captained him when we did. Like, I need to stop ragging on about it, but it really sucks. Hopefully you can bounce back to this 1 110, 113, 115 average for the rest of the season, that would be much appreciated. They are versing Geelong this week, who are pretty weak in the midfield, so there is a chance that he goes pretty decent this week. Garcia not named, Clark, whatever, I think it was a sub. Sullivan 51, that's fine. I'm happy with 51. As long as he can keep his spot, we'll be happy with that. Gorn, we already talked about. English 91, very disappointing. Going into Briggs, a ruckman that gives up a ton of points to other rucks, and he got a 91. I really thought it was going to be a massive one from English as well, so that's just so disappointing what's happened there. Heaney 121, awesome. McRae 92, Sam Darcy 84, Comben 80, and Sexton 118. Honestly, that's gold right there. Holding on to those guys, so good, and with those good scores, they've really reset their break even. So if we do just click on the Supercoach Plus, we can see down the 16, 17, Sexton's minus 40, obviously. Like, so good here. We can't trade any of these guys right now because they're just going to make good money, like, real quick. But yeah, that's basically the team, guys. Trades this week, it's going to be just a simple one up, one down. So we can see Wilson's basically at his break-even price. So I will be moving Wilson out. And then I think I'm actually going to be moving Closey out. So with Closey, he's been fine, but I think he just needs to go now. I'm going to use Sexton's swing to jump him into the back line. We do need to bring Richards in if we go to the break-even game. Yep, Joe Richards, I'm pretty happy with him, being pretty happy with what he's done. A lot of Collingwood rookies in the team, though, so hopefully they can hold their spots, but maybe a bit risky of me to do it that way, but I'm pretty happy with it, and I don't really trust Bevo, so I'm not going to do that. And then we can just jump down to players that have been good, and we'll just bring in Sammy Flanders. And I know that's nothing special, guys. Everyone has Sammy Flanders, and all I'm really doing is mitigating a pod here, but it's just mitigating the damage that Flanders is going to do for the rest of the season to us. So he's absolutely stomped us all season long, but he's never really been in a position where it's like, oh, I have to get him. Oh, like if I don't get him, he's going to get at a price. Like, he's just been hovering around this price tag for ages, but I do need to get someone in. I do want to be improving my forward line, so I think Flanders is the best grab here. And there's nobody in the forward line that I have to get on, like, unless it was Zorko, but I don't want to get on Zorko after sort of him going up another 50k. Very unfortunate. I think I'm just going to have to death ride that one, which is very, very unfortunate. But yeah, that's how we're going to do our trades, nice and simple. I did want to do... So Joe Richards kind of ends up on field, though, when I do it this way. That's the only problem. I say problem, but when I look at my rookies, it's like, who else do I want on field? It's out of, like, Pink, Sullivan, Richards. Like, I actually think I want Richards on field if I look at the options. So I will definitely do that. We all know Darcy Jones is out for, 6 to 8 they said, so he's just going to sit on on the bench as a dead rookie, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Hugo Garcia may return to the side this week, may not. We'll just throw Sullivan there. It doesn't even matter if Sullivan goes well here, just because the way the team's set up, it's not like I'm going to move Reed up and then Reed out for like Sullivan's like 60, so we're just going to put the emergency there for the hell of it. Sweet, maybe he gets back this week, that'd be cool. But yeah, captains this week. I actually think Ryan needs to be considered again massively. Collingwood, I think, were the second or third team that give up massive points to defenders. So St Kilda number 1, and then it's like Richmond and Collingwood as like 17th, 16th worst teams to stop defenders. So yeah, I think Ryan again. I think I'm happy to put the VC on him and hope for his upside. I mean, we know he's upside. We know he's got a high floor. Like, I feel pretty safe with this. We do have Gorn into Rowan Marshall, who gives up massive points. We just saw Luke Jackson go 150, and this was the other, I guess, unfortunate thing for us is last week, a lot of people looked at bringing in Jackson to cover Sweet's donut with the help of Livingston. I actually did consider it, but then I decided I don't really want Jackson in my forward line by the end of the season. Obviously, he comes out with a massive 150 this week and really rewarded anyone that did that. Yes, the 90 the week before wasn't great, but when you get backed out with a 150, it's like a 125 average for the 2 weeks. So that's insane. Sorry, I said 125 average. It's a little bit less than that, obviously 120. But yeah, just insane from him. Just absolutely insane. So Jackson was actually a really good call there for anyone that got on that or anyone that had him or still been holding him. Very good outcome for them. But yeah, As I said, Marshall gave up huge points to Gawn. He is not a restrictive ruckman. He's given up big points all year, but historically he's been pretty restrictive to Gawn. I don't think it's him. I think St Kilda are very physical with Gawn, and they don't let him do his thing. Really hoping for a bounce back from him this week. I guess the other obvious ones, you got Merritt or something into Richmond, very good. As I mentioned, Green into Geelong could be very good. Butters into North, very good. Probably wouldn't touch anyone in this Carlton Gold Coast game, wouldn't touch anyone in the Western Bulldogs Sydney game. As I mentioned, Luke Ryan in this Freo game could be good. If you wanted to, you could go for one of the Lions boys, but I actually wouldn't. I mean, Hawks have been pretty decent recently, and they always seem to... the funny thing with the Hawks-Brisbane matchup is whichever team's lower on the ladder, they usually win. And then Adelaide-West Coast. Honestly, West Coast have been a lot better, and Adelaide are usually pretty restrictive in the midfield, so once again, one I'd stay away from. So, yeah, I think they're the pretty obvious options. So, Luke Ryan, Butters, Green, Merritt, and then maybe Gawn. Now, in this case, we have 4 of those in the case of Luke Ryan, Butters, Green, and Gawn. I think I might run it back with the Luke Ryan Gawn. There's a good chance, though, I'm probably just going to end up putting the C on Livingston. I think that Luke Ryan will be in for a big game, and I'm not expecting... I think these guys, like, there is a chance Butters goes huge. There is a chance Green and Gawn, there's a chance they all go huge, but I don't know. I haven't really gotten a good captain this year, so I might just be happy locking in like a 130 off Luke Ryan if he can get there. Obviously got punished this week for... but lost 13 points this week for making that mistake. But yeah, that's how I'm going to go into the week, guys. I honestly don't really expect this to change. I guess I wanted to talk about, like, this is, like, really good for Libba. Like, great to hear that he could be back in 3 weeks, but once again, even more punishing for us. So, obviously, last week, if we brought in Sullivan and Zorko, I planned on just holding Libba on the bench. You know, if I held Libba last week and then we got to hear the news he'll be back in 3 weeks, once again, I would have just kept holding Libba for the rest of the season, and I would have been very, very happy with that. We've had Zorko in the forward line, very happy there. Brought in Flanders this week. Like, it would have looked elite. Obviously... that's hoping that Sweet gets up, otherwise we'd be going for a 3rd donut in a row. But very painful to know that I ended up going Libba to Gawn, just because that was the only way I could get to Gawn, and I didn't want to be dicking around in the rucks anymore because I was already sick of it. And then we get the news, literally like on the Monday, being like, oh, Libba could be back in 3 weeks. Well... fuck, you serious, bro? I mean, look, it's still 3 weeks of missing Libba's scores, but I would have been very happy to keep Libba as a huge pod. And as I said, I could still technically do 1 down, 1 up, and Libba would just sit there, so it's not like I'm falling behind the competition. I'm still getting the 1 up, 1 down, and then I would eventually move Libba in. But yeah, this week I technically did a 1 up, 1 down. I went down for Sullivan, went up from Libba to Gawn, so I spent significantly more money than I would have on Zorko, like 150k more. And now Libba's going to come back, so, you know, really good news for him. And, I mean, if you're in my Supercoach team, there's a chance you could literally just twist your ankle walking down the side of the road or something very bad happen. So, everybody be on watch. Just make sure you're safe out there. But yeah, all seriousness, guys, thank you so much for tuning in once again. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, for the consistent injections of Supercoach content directly into YouTube feed. And this is how the team will look going into the week. As I said, don't expect this to change, but if you did want to keep up to date with that, I will update you on Twitter. But till next time, guys, peace, later.